Albert Einstein, who if nothing else was clever, said you can't change a system using the thinking that created it. That means if you want to change things, you have to look at alternative ways of thinking. The way things are at the moment, the people that benefit from it don't want it to change. They are happy with it the way it is. That's why things like ecological disaster, economic inequality, global meltdown and war are largely ignored because they are serving the purpose of the people that are in control. If you want change to come, it will not come from them.
And Russell, one of your favorite Solzhenitsyn quotes, I think, is very apt, that you've been using lately a lot.
Oh yeah, all right. This must be the first Solzhenitsyn quote on The View, surely. Solzhenitsyn was a Russian dissident and author. He goes, the line between good and evil does not come between nations, religions, races or creeds, but runs through every human heart. Meaning we all have the capacity to be a bit selfish and egotistical. I know I do. So I just try and tend towards the best part of myself, and then everyone else tries to do it, and then we create a more positive environment. Or, as Rocky IV said, if I can change and you can change, make the whole...
I saw some of the interviews you've done in the book, and you have an insistence that this revolution cannot and will not come about through voting. But there's not a revolution that I can think of that without violence has brought about change. So you take out violence, because that's
yes, violence is obviously bad. That would not achieve anything for violence.
And you take out voting. So how are these changes going to happen without voting, without violence?
Well, the only reason I disagree with voting is because, for me, the political system in my country, there are two parties, but both the parties are really similar to one another, and it seems that they're more interested in representing big business than the ordinary people of my country. I wonder if it's the same here.
It is very similar.
It is, but I think in this country, when people hear you say that, they get nervous because people of color fought so hard for the right to vote.
Yes, and women fought very hard to vote.
Yes.
And the reason people fought so hard to vote is because they wanted their views represented. They wanted to be free. Now we've ended up with a government that doesn't represent us in a lot of countries. Your own Thomas Jefferson said every generation should have a revolution, and I think we need one now. When your country was ruled by an economic elite that taxed you without representing you, you kicked them out. It was us, the English.
Right.
Now you're in a similar situation where an economic elite who doesn't represent you is not interested in your values or your views, but only wants to represent rich elites and corporations. You similarly have this situation, only now it's not divided by an ocean, only an ocean of money, a green sea of inequality.
Thomas Jefferson also said that revolution comes about when people are willing to bleed for their cause. So are you willing to bleed for your cause? Are you willing to change your life around? If someone came to you and gave you $100 billion to make these changes, I saw you pressed in an interview, I know you got a little cross, but I didn't get cross with me.
I don't think he got cross at all. I thought it was brilliant. And it's had 11 million views. 11 million views, his interview with Paxson over in
I thought you got a little cross and testy when pressed to get... I think you have an opportunity to get specific. I think you have an opportunity to ask people to do something, and you haven't gotten specific.
I have actually. That's what
I read the whole book. I read the whole thing.
Yes, it is. Organise your own workplaces. Organise the places where you live. If you're unhappy with the amount of money you're paying for your rent or your mortgage, ask other people if they feel similar to you. Organise. You won't be represented.
But don't vote.
Well, unless a party emerges that says, hello, we're here for ordinary American people. We're not going to accept money from lobbyists in Washington. We're not going to represent big corporations, pharmaceuticals, Monsanto. We're interested in representing you ordinary people. If a party like that comes into being, by God, vote for them. But there is not a party like that in America. There's not a party like that in the United Kingdom. And the reason is because we live under tyranny.
Well, no, there was a party. There was a party. It was Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader in our country did represent those values. And what had happened is that the people didn't come out to support him. And a lot of times here in America, we vote against our own self-interest.
That's true. We vote against our own.
The media feeds us narratives where we oppress immigrants, people that are vulnerable, people with disability, people that are different colours from the majority of the population. These people are constantly blamed for social problems. I'm a recovering drug addict. We are constantly criminalised and persecuted and imprisoned.
11 years sober.
And in a way, it's like people are always looking for scapegoats, people to condemn and blame, instead of, if you're looking for where to get more money to create a better society, look at the people that have got all of the money. That's where the problem is.
And isn't it true that your frustration with the news has led you to create your own version of the news on your YouTube channel called The Truths.
Oh yeah, I do a true news channel called The Truths. It's true news that you can trust, where we report on how the news should be told. And when on Fox News, when they're telling you to condemn Mexican people or immigrants or people that have a different sexual identity to you, that's to distract you from the people that really have the power. People like Rupert Murdoch that owns Fox News.
All right, we're getting into the conversation to be continued. Our thanks to Russell Brand.
On The Truths. Hey, I love you.
I love you too. Around the Science Complex on ethics and over 28. The members of our studio audience are going on with this very good book, Revolution. We'll be right back.
He's fucking with her. He don't love her. He just fucking with her.